Well, sorry about being out for most of the week. It was just a nasty cold, and I didn't feel like having to broadcast with a fuzzy head. Didn't feel like trading. Didn't feel like doing much of anything. So, figured I'd just go ahead and take the time off and get everything cleared out. No reason for me to be coughing at you guys, anyways. So, here we are, back in action again. We had a big U.S. jobs report today. In the end, it caused a big spike up and a big spike down, and we're still doing this slow creep up, is what I see. It's just kind of grinding it out. If this had come down and taken out these lows, then that would have taken us out of our trade, but they weren't able to do that. We're still buyers. I don't think there's any significant sellers here. We do know that this channel has some decent frequency on it. From the touches here, and here we touched it again. So, just letting the line do its job, and hopefully we'll get up here to where our profit target is sometime in the near future. Alright, so nothing to do there but sit on our hands and wait. Aussie's been pretty rangy. It was an interesting reaction today. We had a big spike down on the jobs and big jump up again. Let's look at the hourly. It's a little bit more clear. I've been following this downsloping modified shift median line, and I should mark in this multi-pivot line here. Right there. And so you can see, get this stuff out of the way. You can see that we've been using some slop through of this lower median line parallel to find support. I drew in a sliding parallel to show exactly where it had happened. It's about the same amount of slop through each time. You don't want to get too caught up in everything being exactly precise to the tick, because sometimes it works out that way and sometimes it doesn't. If you don't let the market have a little room to wiggle, then you can't always see the picture of what's really going on. Again, we're still dealing with this range doubling, giving us up to here, and then doubling again, giving it up to here. Then again, important on the same side down, as we keep on bumping up against it, and then kind of wicking through it sometimes to find resistance on what looks like a nice multi-pivot line right here. So what's going on with it? Well, I think it may be done. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot more out of it. Going back to look at the daily, it looks like this last test of this big multi-year resistance area may hold, and we just may be rolling down. So I'd be interested in looking for shorts here next week, particularly if we did something like coil a little bit more and came up and tested this again. Who knows, maybe now's the only time to get in, but I'm certainly not going to do anything before the weekend right after being sick too. Plus, you never know about how, if you don't get a real clear reaction from a news report, especially going into the weekend where you only have a few hours left of trading, there's probably no big hurry to get in. I like the way that I drew in the sliding parallel of this larger median line set that seemed to have some significance. It called the top pretty well, and here it switched back on it. Got some decent touches here and here. A little bit sloppy, but good frequency on the handle back here as well. And so it looks significant. So since we're having I guess it's sort of a down-sloping, grindy type range thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's expanding pivots. I think it's just washing out some minor stops. before going lower, because we keep on stair-stepping lower. So if we got a chance to sell up in here somewhere next week, that would be pretty good. And then probably just hang on to it for a while. That could be a fairly large profit target. There's some, technical stuff like this 200-day moving average, 382 retracements and things in here, but this is really consistently down all through April. So I think we may be done. And I think we're going to miss this upper median line parallel and work our way lower from there. So yeah, somewhere in there would be an interesting place to sell. Okay, let's see. What else have we been talking about? How about Aussie yen? Same kind of thing. I think it's rolled over here. It's just been consistently weak after having this big spike down. Now it's kind of building a tiny range on the bottom of this old range. So we've got this. Actually, draw it in like a little square. This range. Get up on top of this one. And they're just not going anywhere, but steadily working its way lower. So what do we want? Well, we want a chance to sell up in here. That would be interesting because this seems to have nice frequency, so maybe in a few days, if it did range trade back up into here, took out some of these stops, we could try a trade with a stop, something like this. Your stop there. Looking for an entry. Oop, not that. Around here somewhere. Let's see what that looks like on risk to reward. Yeah, 20-ish pips sounds pretty good, especially on the hourly chart. And we would look to take that. Well, we've stored up a lot of energy here, and if we break these, I think going just for the median line is too conservative. Since we've spent so long, a month, grinding out this range, when it rocks, there's going to be plenty of people on the wrong side of this trade that will help us propel it lower. So I would think that we would want to look at taking profits on this lower median line parallel. So we just want to go from there to there. Alright, if that bothers people, I'll make it red since it's down sloping. Get rid of this whole thing. Okay. So yeah, that would be interesting to look for. That would be a target of something like, 200 pips for risking 20. Sounds pretty sweet. Alright. How about Euro-AUD? Well, kind of thought that we might switch back here. This was a little uglier than I would have liked it to have been. I would have liked to have seen it not be able to take these out. The fact that we did makes it weaker than it really is. I mean, weaker than it had looked after this big spike up. These are just minor guys, and this happened on, well, the middle of the week. It's just sloppier than I like. I like the other two trades that we pointed out better. If you were really looking for this trade, it was a nice test and retest, but where do you put your stop? Because you've taken these two out, so you'd have to money stop it, which is not ideal. But let's see what it looks like if you did do that. Say you got in here. Why would you want to get in here? Well, you had this downsloping, this drifting down market. Then you had the test of this frequency that we've been watching for a while. That switched back here, so we might expect it to switch back here. Also been tested here and done very well. Good tests here, so we're pretty confident of this this frequency. Then if you have a test here, and this nice, look at the wick on this bar is pretty big, so you stick an order in there for the next time it touches it, and you probably just wouldn't want to risk more than 15-20 pips on this. Just to see if you'd have to get a little bit lucky. These are some pretty, yeah, I don't, considering how much we're talking about in here, these are, the scale doesn't work out right very well for me to risk 20 pips. I guess you could, if you really wanted to and you just were desperate for a trade, but I think it's probably best to not jack with this one. It's too inconsistent, especially with the fact that they were able to, look at it. It looks like just another growing, expanding pivot thing, and that's generally not the greatest of situations to be trading in, unless you've got some other larger structure to build off of. So I would have passed on that. All right, what else? Excuse me just a moment. Still getting some of all that cold cleared out of me. All right, Canada. We did finally grind our way to a new low, and we took this out. And so we would have been ready for a sell in here somewhere. Is there something that I wanted to do in here? And it sure is messy, and doesn't seem to be getting any prettier. Maybe we're just ticking out time for something, because that often is what is happening when markets get sloppy and messy and they don't really do what we want them to do, which is trade in a nice clear manner. And if you really wanted to, you can draw in this downsloping modified shift line, and it's okay. So the sliding parallel, and you haven't gotten a retest on this, you could try selling that with a stop over here. But again, I wouldn't want to do that so much going into the weekend. You can have some confidence that this might be significant. At least it seems to come in here to catch something. If we're not sure, maybe we can backtest this. See if there's any clue that this frequency is more significant than just a few pokes here and there. Yeah, seems a bit dubious to me. Not really in a big hurry to get short there, because it really looks like we're spending some time grinding it out. I did draw in this downsloping channel, the gold one, and it caught the tops there on its midpoint. So maybe that's got some significance to it, and we can follow that down. And really, we just need a stop. Need something that looks nice and clear, rather than getting in a big hurry. Certainly nothing to do today. It's not for me. Now, we talked about Aussie. I guess we should talk about the stock market. Again, Russell looking much weaker than the rest. We've barely retraced any at all. Looks like there's a fairly significant rotation going on out of smaller caps and into the big boys. Because if we go in and look at the SPY, I mean, we're all the way up here at old highs. So big difference there. Nasdaq's more or less the same story, but they're more large companies now in the Nasdaq, so it has retraced a little bit more significantly, but still nowhere near its old highs. It's done a 618 retrace rather than playing up here like where the S&P has. So overall, not real positive for the stock market. And now that we're done with month end and the beginning of the month, we might have a day or two of sideways drift or poke up at the new highs, but after that, I'd be pretty scared of being long. Might even consider a short if I saw something interesting with a nice stop. What would that look like? Well, not really sure yet. It would probably be best to short the weakest looking thing, which is the Russell. I'm not a real big fan of that line I just drew. I think that's a trap. Now, that being said, all the talk that we've had about this sector being stronger than the other, we still haven't taken out these two significant lows. So we can't really be going all nuts looking for the end of the world type short, but we might, doing a little pioneer type trade might not be unreasonable. I think it's going to take a little drawing on this to figure out what's going on. After all, we did come back down to this area and test it. Maybe we get another run at highs, actually. Who knows? But if this ground its way out and made came back up into this region somewhere while the ES is making new highs or something like that, that would definitely be something to look out for pioneering type short. All right. Banks came up and tagged this multi-pivot line, structural line that's gone through this gap and switched back several times. Is making a potential higher low here, so that's good for the bullish side of things. And even after touching this, we didn't just melt all the way down. We did come all the way back up again. So that's not terrible. And again, looking at the daily, there's really nothing wrong with this market. We've just been grinding it for the better part of a year of making these new successive peaks and retracing the majority of them each time. So we could see another test of this upsloping frequency again. And then maybe grind out a new high. Who knows? It certainly hasn't done anything to break this trend, and that wouldn't happen until we took these guys out. Right in this area down here, you'd want to see price slice through these lows and come down in this area. Then you might be thinking about, hey, maybe next time if we retraced up against this, I'd want to sell. Otherwise, there's nothing you can do but follow it up. Because if you get in too big a hurry looking for that big reversal, the market will just grind all your money away. Alright, well, I don't want to get too caught up in overanalyzing things today. Just wanted to get back in the swing of things. So I think I'll shut it down there for today. See how the weekend plays out and see what we get for next week. And then hopefully I'll be in a little bit better shape. Don't want to lose my voice talking too much yet. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.